have them immediately if I did that and say, this is the only viewer, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
that makes sense, Jackie.
They could take it off of there and do whatever they wanted with it.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Okay.
Well, thank you for that lovely note that you wrote. That really is very special to me. You know, it just makes me feel pretty good about the world.
Well, you create a good world to be in.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Goes both ways.
I was thinking about this question about how do I know if this strategy on critical feedback worked? And knowing that it's probably too soon to tell to ask a question like, did it work or didn't it work? But this is the question I'm thinking about. I believe your awareness has grown into the nature of critical feedback because of that session.
Mine?
Yes. Yes, or anyone in the group.
Oh, okay.
Do you think that's a fair assumption?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so yes. I'm wondering if you are imagining the possibility of what you intend to try with regard to critical feedback. I mean, is there something that you're now thinking, okay, given that I'm not getting the kind of critical feedback I want from the interviews I'm doing or the questions I'm asking, what might I do differently to get that critical feedback because of the conversations we've had about critical feedback?
Well, I mean, I think one thing that I did, even, you saw it, is I sent out that email that said, I need your help, right? So, and I got a response back from Cheryl, but very, very brief, and that's it so far. But I mean, it's early, and But I was trying to get at like the immediate reaction. I think that's what I was trying to get at for that. I don't know. I mean, I told Karen, you have to change the language because she was looking for constructive criticism and there was negative connotations to that, right? Like what you did, Jackie, was you modeled that you could do it and survive, right?
Yeah.
I think part of the reason Cheryl was so uncomfortable was because not only did you do that, but you did it in a group forum, right? Which I think is even more difficult to do, and I think maybe that's why some people weren't maybe as honest as they might be if they were one-on-one. Because not only are they worried about what you think, they're worried about what other people think.
Oh, that's a good point. That probably is another way of going at it. But, for it to be a democratic evaluation, it really needs to take that shape, right? Because it's part of the democratic process that people know, and are involved in a process that's non-hierarchical. And so and I've done that before. I did that when I was superintendent with my principals, and in I very same way, getting them to give me feedback on how I'm doing and how things are going. And I believe that if I had asked somebody, one of them individually, I might not have got what I got because the conversation built on each other.
Yeah.
So when you mentioned about the participation, I hadn't even thought about that. And I mean, we have plenty of conversations. It's never come up.
Well, it wasn't really an issue for me, Jackie. I had been a part of 3 or 4 different conversations since the last course. And people kept bringing it up. And I say, well, ask. Or I would say, Jackie started our first course with that reference to that quote about the A.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't, and so I have, I was reassuring people and saying, don't get caught up with the mark, just work on blah, 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 blah. And then, they would make some comment, or I don't know, I've just heard probably at least a half a dozen people comment on that, and then I'd have something to say, and then they would say, yeah, but, and there was always this but. So that's why I brought it up. Wasn't so much because I had an issue with it, was that I thought, okay, well, here's an opportunity to make this public. Right?
Okay, so I go back to my question. So if that opportunity had not been there, would the issue have come out?
Not for me.
Yeah, so you see, the fact that I did that meant that came out.
Yeah.
And I think with Jill, for example, if I hadn't got that forum going, I'm not sure I would have heard her stress. And her stress around this then prompted her to meet with me individually, in which case we worked through all of the issues.
Yeah.
And so, you see, it's hard to say what was the chicken and what was the egg, but whenever... Sorry.
No, that's the same point I was actually, I raised that concern about the marks because I thought it needed to be addressed. But I wasn't so concerned about it that I would have brought it up without being invited to, right? But I also shared, what I did in the classroom with the participation mark, which I would do again in a heartbeat, and I value, and because like you're saying right now, I know it was a valuable process for many students, and not too many, but there was always one or two students, and we had different ideas about their participation. So then I would follow up with, can we talk about this? And then you would sit, like you said, uncover some other issues and have that kind of conversation. So I guess either or is equally valuable, right? And maybe if we had if you had told us on Friday that we were going to do that, and asked us to think about what we might say, I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it would have made people less forthcoming.
Well, I thought about that. Would I be better to say I'm going to do this on Saturday? Would I be better to say I'm going to try this, and I have done it before, and I'm hopeful that it'll work, in the future or tomorrow But I wasn't sure that kind of preparation.
Yeah.
It was on the list of things I was going to do on the agenda, but in terms of preparation, I wasn't sure whether that would have got me any more honest feedback than it did. So I guess the only way I could find out is to try it that way. But every group's so different. How would you know?
Yeah, I guess you don't. And the other thing is, you'll never ever be able to do something that pleases everyone, right? So trying things differently until you find something that works is all you can do.
Yeah.
And that's what we do as educators, right? We're always flying by the seat of our pants to a certain degree, right?
Well, I mean, I knew this was an issue because of it coming up in so many of those first assignments. So many of them said, I'm having trouble getting this critical feedback to help me move on. And so I thought for quite some time about how to solve that. And that was a strategy I came up with, that kind of democratic evaluation.
Right, okay.
And I'm hoping, I knew it would be hard on some people. I knew it, be honest, it was hard on me. You don't do that lightly. You think about it, and you have to be sure that you're ready for it.
And you're never completely ready, right?
No. the ones that it did bother kind of just kind of separated themselves from it. And so I didn't mean to cause them stress, but I needed to get at a hard issue. And I mean, optimally, that will help people to kind of be able to see a way forward to get that feedback that they really want.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's just like everything else. You know, we have to hear it however many times before we believe it. So maybe, you know, if we did that kind of thing more often, then we would get more comfortable with it.
Right.
Right? You know, we do that evaluation at the end in anonymously in an envelope in, you know, a secret room and all the rest of it, right? So
I've got my sister-in-law calling me.
Oh, okay.
So
we're done. If you're done.
Okay.
That was any help or not? But
no, I think it was. Yep.
Okay.
So good luck on your writing.
Yeah.
I know
it's just time. Like, I'm loving it. I'm a slow writer. I'm just a slow writer, and I just, you know, I'm getting better, but I'm slow.
Well, you write beautifully, so you need to have confidence in your knowledge and your writing.
I'm getting more confident too, I believe.
I think
Thanks,
so
Jackie.
too.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.